Hello, everybody. You are welcome to the channel. We are a Revelation channel, End Time channel. I did a video about 12 top writers regarding the awakening of the Hebrews, and I mentioned Ronald Dalton, who wrote Hebrews to Negroes. He has done the most comprehensive work on the subject. I also mentioned another African, Nana Dakwa, and his book is called The Africans Who Wrote the Bible. The Africans Who Wrote the Bible. Nana Dakwa, Nana, last name is Darkwah, Nana Banchi Dakwa, the Africans Who Wrote the Bible. And I want to do a short commentary on the book. I'm sure some of you probably have heard about it. The reason why I'm bringing this subject is that the subtitle of the book is Ancient Secrets Africa and Christianity Have Never Told. The title of the book is The Africans Who Wrote the Bible. The subtitle is Ancient Secrets Africa and Christianity Have Never Told. So, in the short commentary on the book, I'm going to look at some of the secrets that Nana Dakwa is talking about. The first secret is that the Jews did not originate from the Ural of Chaldees. The Ural of Chaldees is a place where Abraham came from in the Bible. Nana Dakwa is saying that the Jews did not originate from the Ural of Chaldees. It means that to be able to prove that you are a descendant of Abraham, you must be able to prove that you lived in the Ural of Chaldees, you live in Mesopotamia. For those who are watching, I've talked to some tribes in Ghana, the Ashantis and the Gas. Oral history shows that they migrated from Mesopotamia, and some of them say they passed through Egypt. And historical records show that the people who lived in Ural of Chaldees around Mesopotamia, they were black people. And the book written by Rudolph Windsor, From Babylon to Timbuktu, talks about it. And the book written by Ronald Dalton, Hebrews to Negroes, also talks about it. And I think Dalton quotes a European scholar, Sir Geoffrey Higgins, who also says that the place that Abraham lived were inhabited by black people, and it presupposes that Abraham may be a black person. So it's a secret. The area Ural of Chaldees in Mesopotamia was not inhabited by Europeans. The second ancient secret recorded by Nana Dakwa is a question: who wrote the New Testament? And Nana Dakwa is saying that if you look at the Old Testament, the writers, their names are there, Hebrew names, you can call it. But if you go to the New Testament, the writers have European names: Matthew, Mark, John, and Luke. And so he poses that question as to who wrote the New Testament. And his main argument is that it were Africans who wrote the Bible. So that is a secret. It's an ancient secret who wrote the Bible. And why is it that the authors of the New Testament have European names? Dakwa also says that one secret is the attempt by Europeans to cut off eyewitnesses who can corroborate the Bible. And the eyewitnesses who can corroborate the Bible were Africans. The early church workers were Africans, and they were eyewitnesses, and they will have confirmed that the Hebrews were actually black. But Europeans have attempted throughout history to suppress the eyewitnesses who are Africans. By the way, when you're talking about eyewitnesses, we are talking about people who lived in the first century around the time of the destruction of Jerusalem. And one important person is a Roman general, Tacitus. And Tacitus confirms that the early Christians were black, and he wrote that Paul was a dark-skinned person, a black person. Nana Dakwa also talks about another secret. Documents in the Bible were translated, copied, and compiled in Alexandria in Egypt. They were copied for the Greeks and in Egypt. And so the question is, which people lived in ancient Egypt who did the compilation, translation of the Bible from Hebrew to Greek? And Dakwa is also saying that Western scholarship about Africa is based upon negative anthropological sentiments. Western scholarship about Africa is based upon negative anthropological sentiments. When you study anthropology, you study the culture of people. And the Europeans who came to Africa to study the culture of Africans, who studied the culture of black people, they had negative, Eurocentric, racist sentiments, and those sentiments colored their writings and opinions. And so the writings and opinions of Europeans about Africa, about the Bible, about the Hebrew, are based upon negative anthropological sentiments, and so you should accept them with caution. You must be very careful when you read those Eurocentric, racist writings based upon negative anthropological sentiments about dark skinned people. Dankwa is also saying that there has always been monitoring of the works written by Europeans. So if Europeans see another European writing about Africa and he's revealing a secret they don't want to go out, they don't want that. So they self-censor other Europeans who will be writing to reveal secrets about Africa. And one of the things which they don't want to come out is the link that ancient Egypt had with Africa. And Europeans would not want to accept that ancient Egypt was black. And they will not even accept the writings of Herodotus, a person that Europeans claim is the father of history. Europeans will not accept Herodotus' writing that ancient Egyptians were black. Dakwa also says that the Africans who live in Africa, they are the Africans or the black people who lived in ancient Egypt, and they still carry the royal dynasties of ancient Egypt. And Dakwa also has said that there was a plot by the Greek who invaded Egypt to delete the names of African kings on the Egyptian kings list and put the names of Greeks on the list. This is fraud, impersonation. The greatest secret that Darkwa recalls is that the Europeans don't want this secret to come out, that the Africans are the origins of the authors of the Bible, and also that the concept of Christianity are African, because the early Christians were Africans, and those who wrote the Bible were African. This is the greatest secret, ancient secret, that Europeans don't want to come out. What is the secret? The secret is that the origins of the Bible are African, the authors of the Bible are African, and so the theologies, the ideas, the concepts that are developed in the Bible are originally African, and they have been used by Europeans to their benefit. And this point is so important. So I'm quoting Darkwa, page 9 of his book, this book, the Africans who wrote the Bible. And he's saying that there's a secret, and the secret is out, and I'm sure most of you are aware of it. You are aware of that. The early Christian churches in Europe worshipped black images of the people in the Bible. So the question you are asking is, why did the early European Christians worship black images in the Bible? Why did they worship black Madonna? Why do these Europeans still, some nations will still worship black Madonna, the mother of Christ, Mary? Her image is black. It is the greatest evidence that the original people in the Bible were Africans, and it was Africans who wrote the Bible, and biblical characters are black people, and that is why early Christians in Europe worship black images in the Bible. And there has been a plot by Europeans to distort the Bible, and it is evident in their writings. And Darkwa cites one writer. His name is Leon Poliakov. And what is the title of his book? Leon Poliakov, European. The Iron Myth. The Iron Myth, a history of racist and nationalistic ideas in Europe. So European is writing a book, and the title is called The Iron Myth. It means that the whole idea about a superior race, the Iron race, is a myth. The writings about a superior race, the Iron race, is based upon a history of racist and nationalistic ideas in Europe. The Europeans became racist, they became nationalistic, and Hitler became racist and nationalistic, and he was observed with racist ideas. He read the book by Charles Darwin, Darwinism, The Origins of Species, and he was so racist that Hitler, you know what he did to 6 million Jews. You know what he did to Jesse Owens, a black Olympic athlete who went to the Olympic Games in 1936 in Germany. Darkwa is also saying that the fact that there were blacks in the Bible, it was known to European scholars. European scholars for a long time knew that when you take the Bible, when you open the Bible, the people in the Bible are black. They knew that for a long time, but they didn't want to accept that. Okay, Dakwa is also talking about a historical event, the Reformation that came to Europe. The Reformation was a period where Europeans questioned the Bible. And when they questioned the Bible, they decided to reinterpret the Bible. And so they had to reinterpret the Bible in order to change certain things because the Reformation was bringing racist and controversial issues into religion. And everybody was writing his own Bible, and that's how come we even had the King James Bible. And as a result of the Reformation, European Christians rejected the concept of monotheism. Um, Monotheism, monogeism. They accepted the concept of polygenism. Polygenism means we descended from a different Adam. The European didn't want to come from the same Adam who is known as the original man, because they cannot come from the same Adam where black people come from. So racist Europeans wanted to have a new Adam, and so they wrote about polygenism. And according to Dakwa, some Europeans even wanted to be known as descendants of Enoch, not Noah. They didn't want to be descendants from Noah. They wanted to be a descendant from somewhere who is far away from Noah, and they mentioned Enoch. If you are reading about Europeans and their attitude, Dakwa is saying that they look at the blessings of a drunken Noah. Noah was drunk, and you know the story. And so the Europeans said that as a result of Noah's curse on Ham, black people who are descendants of Ham, and so all black people are cursed. You have to remember that this is a misinterpretation of the Bible. And so the record is that Europeans conferred on themselves the blessings of Noah, and they conferred on black people the curse of Canaan. And they perpetuated the myth that because descendants of Ham were the Africans who were already enslaved, it is good, because the enslavement of the Africans is based upon the Bible. It fulfills the Noah's curse in the Bible. So you see an ancient thinking, a racist thinking that originated from Europe, that influenced the way they read the Bible, that influenced the way they interpreted the Bible, and that influenced the way they treated Africans. Take them as slaves, because the Bible already has condemned them to slavery as a result of the curse of Ham. Dakwa is also talking about the secrets that came from the Renaissance period. And the Renaissance period was a period where Christianity was hijacked by new ideas coming from Europe. So Europeans are going through a Renaissance period, a new period, new ideas coming, and the European ideas are superior to the Bible. And so the Renaissance period took over the Bible. And it was during the Renaissance period that painters in Italy took their brush and started painting the pictures of Jesus and Mary and the Bible, God white with blue eyes and with brown hair and so forth and so forth. And Dakwa also talks about the secrets in Christianity, and he's saying that Christian Europe laid the foundation that blacks were cursed by harm, so it is okay to enslave them. And that's why he's saying that it's not only the Catholic Church that did that, Protestant churches in Europe also were behind that. And they also said that black and whites did not come from the same origin. So you saw Christians in Europe saying that black and white did not come from the same origin, did not come from the same Adam. White people came from a different Adam, and black people came from a different Adam. When I'm talking about Christianity, I want to make it clear that I'm not against Christianity. I am a Christian, but it is imperative for us to talk about the abuses of Christianity. And it is the obligation of a Christian to talk about the abuses of Christianity. So I'm not anti-Christian. I'm a Christian. I go to church. We are talking about ancient secrets that Christianity and Africa have not told. And Dakwa has highlighted some of these ancient secrets, and the secrets are coming from the church itself. Dakwa talks about the Catholic Church and the involvement of the Catholic Church in the transatlantic slave trade, and that is an ancient secret. They have hidden the involvement of the Catholic Church in the transatlantic slave trade. And let's look at what Dakwa has documented in his book, The Africans Who Wrote the Bible. The subtitle, Ancient Secrets Africa and Christianity Have Never Told, or they have never been told. In the 16th century, according to Dakwa, a Spanish slave merchant called Juan Sepulveda, he argued that Native Americans were barbarians, so they must be taken as slaves. Who is that? Spanish slave merchant Juan Sepulveda in the 16th century was suggesting, was arguing, he was advocating that Native Americans were barbarians, and so they should be taken as slaves. And he was basing his advocacy on the writings of Aristotle, the Greek philosopher Aristotle. He said that barbarians are not entitled to be given a right of a citizen, so it was okay to enslave a barbarian. And so the Spanish slave merchant Juan Sepulveda agitated in the 16th centuries that the Native Americans are barbarians, so they should be taken as slaves. Of course, if Native Americans are barbarians, dark-skinned people, Africans, are also barbarians. And when all these debates were going on, a Catholic activist, Bartolome de las Casas, he argued that the Native Americans were Christians, or they should be evangelized, and because of that, they should not be enslaved. So he was speaking in favor of Native Americans, saying that because they had the intention to Christianize them and to and evangelize the Native Americans, they should not be taken as slaves. But Bartolome de las Casas had his own ideas. He said that rather the dark-skinned people from Africa should be brought to the Americas to be enslaved instead of the Native Americans. And so, according to Dakwa, in 1537, there was a papal bull, a declaration, an edict, Sublime Deus of 1537. It was passed, and when it was passed, Native Americans were able to receive the Catholic faith and get the sacraments. So it took the Roman Catholic Church to intervene and bring the faith to the Native Americans instead of enslaving them, because somebody spoke in their favor. Bartolome de las Casas, he spoke on behalf of the Native Americans. But the Africans didn't get anybody to speak for them, and so the Africans were brought in North America, and the Americans are slaves instead of the Native Americans. And when we are talking about the involvement of the church in slavery, I want to give you direct evidence of that, and that is the Society for the Propagation of the Gospel. The Society for the Propagation of the Gospel, they came to the slave coast, quote unquote, to propagate the gospel. But lo and behold, they also took part in the slavery and the slave trade that went on in the slave coast. The evidence is still there. If you go to the Elmina Castle, and if you go to the Cape Coast Castle, you see the church that used to be a church building for the Society for the Propagation of the Gospel, and the church was on top of a cell. The church was on top of a slave cell. They were torturing people, raping women underneath the cell, whilst the church was preaching about salvation upstairs. And lo and behold, the slave merchants had to brand their property with marks. So if your name is John Smith, you buy a slave. Probably you use JS, meaning John Smith. The Society for the Propagation of the Gospel used the abbreviation SPG. SPG. And they use that mark on the slaves that they bought. What does it mean? It means that the Society for the Propagation of the Gospel of, I don't know whether it was the gospel of Jesus Christ or the gospel of the Queen of England, or the gospel of the King of Portugal, or whether it was the gospel of the colonial powers. I don't know which gospel was that, but they branded their slaves by putting a mark on their body, SPG, Society for the Propagation of the Gospel. It was involved in the transatlantic slave trade. So that's the ancient secrets that Dakwa is talking about. And the three most important secrets are that the Jews or Europeans did not live in Ural of Cadiz or or Mesopotamia, where Abraham came from. It's a secret. Dakwa is also saying that it was Africans who wrote the Bible. That's the title of his book, and he's also saying that the Europeans have suppressed any evidence of eyewitnesses to the events in the Bible who were Africans. And I'm not surprised because the Europeans are still suppressing information relating to the fact that the Negroes are Hebrews. And that's why at the time of making this video, a documentary was supposed to be going on in South Africa, a documentary on Hebrews to Negroes, organized by Ronald Darting Jr., the author of the 4-volume Hebrews to Negro. And the documentary was going to be shown in the theaters in South Africa, but they canceled it at the last minute. And I believe that is part of the suppression of the truth. And you also have to remember that Europeans also try to warn other Europeans not to write books or not to come out with any information that will expose the secrets about blacks being in the Bible, the secrets about blacks being the Hebrews spoken of in the Bible, and the secrets about the fact that the Atlantic slave trade was an enslavement of the Hebrews spoken of in the Bible. So I'm sure that you will do your own research and know more about the ancient secrets that are hidden. Secrets that are hidden even in museums, even in libraries, including the Library of Congress, British Museum, in the archives of churches, including the Vatican. The secrets are hidden, but in the end of days, the Lord, through his powers, is exposing the secrets, because the Hebrew need to be awakened, because prophecy is going to be fulfilled, because the Isaiah prophecy, Isaiah 11:11, says that in that day the root of Jesse, the lion of the tribe of Judah, will gather the remnants of the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah from all the 4 corners of the earth. The prophecy is coming, and so those who are suppressing the information, you will not suppress the information for too long. Your time is up. The time of the Gentiles are up. It is time for the light to shine. It is time for the Hebrews to be awakened so that they will fulfill their prophetic mandate of being a light unto the Gentiles. Subscribe to this channel. I'm putting the links to the video in the description box. Share the links and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. I'm doing videos once a day because the time is up. We need to increase our effort and fulfill our mandate under the auspices of the Messiah Revelation Ministry. Thank you very much.